I just finished another book. The book is called Male
versus Man.
Male versus Male. Male versus Man.
Male versus Man.
By
DeAndre.
Not
DeAndre. I think it's Donde.
Whitfield. My overall thing is that for both male and female, well, men and women, as he would say, this book is really good on holding both sides accountable. To me, this book really holds men and women accountable for their BS. It's just if you on BS, then that's, you BS begets BS. And you need to look in the mirror and fix you, before you think about trying to fix somebody else. You fix you, that'll fix everything else, which is really a great point to what's going on right now in the whole world. I feel like in the whole world, people need to fix themselves, before, they worry about doing other stuff that they doing when their own house burning down. But anyway, what's your overall? I'm gonna play some clips. Just say
what a book. It really addresses, when it says male versus man, it's essentially just saying, there's some guys who haven't fully developed, and they're males, and then there are men who are definitely holding themselves accountable, definitely they're a work in progress, but they're on the right path. They have the right characteristics, the right principles, morals, values that will allow them to be an asset to their families, lead, definitely teach, and guide. My feelings on the book is, again, the big 3 points that I loved about the book is the accountability piece. Of course, I liked the way that he used the community of men as like steel sharpens steel. I love that part. I mean, because sometimes I don't think women get that. I think women get a little put off by the fact that men like being around men. They almost try to make it you want to hang around a bunch of dudes. I'm like, yeah, but I can't learn what I need to learn to be the best man for you if I'm around you. Because you're not a man, and there are certain, tactics, skills, and, just little this and that I might want to pick up from maybe an older man, or, maybe some nuance from a younger man. You never know. But I love that part of it, and he just really addresses it like steel sharpens steel. So that if you're around a bunch of people who, are like-minded, and really are trying to be, leaders in their family, then, steel sharpens steel. The other thing I liked about it, I like that he addresses man leadership, and saying that pretty much we're at our best when we're leaders, and he addresses the idea that women are not necessarily.
Let me play the clips.
I got
some clips. I got some clips. I'm gonna play the clips. And I'm going to get Michael's opinion on these clips. Michael is the clip expert. I'm going to play the clips.
Clipologist.
Whatever.
Thank you.
That we are currently experiencing. One of the reasons you are so tired, my sister, is that you live in a world that tells you that you don't need a man. Well, I want to correct that. You don't need another child to raise. You don't need a grown male who depends on you to pay his bills. Now, if you are helping each other, that is another story. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the brother who lives in your house, eats your food, drives your car, and uses all your gas. That dude is a straight fire starter. The kind who sets everything and everyone on fire based on his own deficits. This kind is what you will have on your hands if you can't identify the difference between a male and a man. Or this is what you will raise if you don't choose to allow a man to speak life into your son's existence. I recently heard a controversy.
Now, what?
Okay, so a lot of times I'm like, Father's Day is coming up, right? For instance, Father's Day is coming up, for instance, and men, I guess we're taught to be respectful of the role of a woman in their kids' lives, the role of a mother. You know what I mean? We're taught to be respectful of that. I've never heard a dude ever say in life, and I'm sure it exists, but let's just, not often. I'm both mom and dad to my kids. Like, that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And, like, I think women sometimes, and not all women, look, but the idea that he's attacking is I'm both mom and dad to my kids, or I make money, I don't need a man, or I'm strong enough, I don't need a man. It's just like, just because you can do certain things by yourself doesn't mean it's to be done that way. You know, the idea of not having a man in your life, especially when you want one, because I know you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of want.
Who are you talking to? Her?
No, I was talking to her.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to her.
No. Her okay. Specifically, okay. But her too.
Okay.
Yeah, her too. But definitely her right there. But it's just I know you want a man in your life. You clearly do. You know what I'm saying? But the defeated, you feel defeated sometimes because, it ain't happening for you. But he addresses identifying these things that you kind of already see in the beginning. Like if he don't really have no drive, or he doesn't really have, and not his life together. Because life together...
He doesn't have any drive, meaning...
he doesn't have... That's neither here nor there. No. But if you see that he doesn't necessarily have the characteristics of a man, then either decide to deal with him or not. But you gotta know that what's coming up is... you're going to be dealing with some bull. The reason sometimes you pick the guys that you pick is, I don't know. Sometimes, to me, I just think it's laziness. I don't think you don't see these guys. They're doing obvious things. You know what I'm saying? Them ain't my kids guy. That's just my like, play cousin. Like, that guy. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of girls on his phone guy. Like, they're very obvious. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go to the next clip.
Come on.
The next one.
Just not God's will for your life. Life is too short for you to be feeling depressed, stalking your guy, approaching other females about him. Don't ever do that again. Following him in your friend's car, going through his phone and his browser history. If you have to do that, then you have just acknowledged that you are probably not with a man. You may also be acknowledging that you might be more female than woman. But that's a topic for my next book.
All right. So... I think what he said is self-explanatory. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't go through your man's phone. If you feel like you got to, it's probably not the guy for you. You need somebody you can trust. And secondly, he also addresses that maybe, just maybe, he ain't doing nothing. It's just you being kind of insecure. And, that could be either way. And I think that that's fair. Like, listening to that, I think that that's fair. Because it's not always a dude doing something because you suspect it. And it's not always you doing something because he suspects it, But I like the accountability piece. Like, it's a lot of accountability throughout the whole book, and I think that's really dope.
It was hunting lions, for example. According to the Maasai Association, lion hunt was a tradition and historical practice that played an important role in the Maasai culture. The practice was different from trophy hunting. It was symbolically a rite of passage rather than a hobby. And when the men took the boys who were coming into their manhood, they separated them from their mothers for weeks so that their mother wouldn't be able to protect the boy from acts that would be painful but necessary for his growth. We cannot grow a male into a man while he is in the space of accommodation, convenience, and comfort. We must begin to create and implement some modern-day rites of passage for our boys that signal to their minds and spirits that they are beginning to matriculate into manhood. These things should be a focus not of masculinity, but of manhood.
Yeah, I really...
I forgot that one, but that one's really cool for me too.
Yeah, it was cool for me too because we're fathers, we're men,
we got boys,
and it's just like to tell the moms that some things, you're just gonna have to let them cry it out, or you're gonna have to let them come to me, or I'm gonna have to actually do this. I guess it goes back to women who say I'm the mother and the father. Mm-hmm. It's just tough. Especially when it's a father around. That's
like available. Like.
Yeah. So that one hit home to me because of I know that it's at points that I need to be there in my son's life to let him know this is what life is. It's not what you got going on with your mom and your mom coddling you and saying, and protecting you. It's not like that in the real world. And it's my job to do a dress rehearsal for that. It's my job to simulate that in a safe space. Hey, you gonna get punched in the mouth in a safe space though. Yeah. You know,
here's the fire drill.
Yeah, it's a safe space, but I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. You know, I'm gonna punch you softer than the world gonna punch you, but this is how it feels. Like, I think that's really, really important, because, or you can learn by, you know, the actual
world
punching you in the mouth,
right?
Which, you know, is what most of us, you know, learn by is really in the actual world. And then, you know, now that I've learned it that way, I don't want my son to learn it that way. I don't want him to think he's supposed to be coddled and taken care of, and mama do it for me, and then get in the real world and realize that it's not like that. So that's why I want him more for these dress rehearsals of the real world that I know he's going to go through, sad to say today, as a black male. So that's why I want him more for these dress rehearsals of the real world that I know he's going to go through, sad to say today, as a black male. Yeah. I mean, it's just what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. Now, I mean, I'll tell you them stories later, but, you know, that hit home to me, because I don't think that women always realize that they just, oh, this my baby, when it's just like, you got to let that go.
And then eventually, you know, it's the idea that chicken's coming home to roost. Like, here it is, you coddled this boy for 17 years, and then when he hit 18, you're ready to kick him out the house. It's like, you can't. He's ill prepared for the things that are coming. You know, that are gonna come up in his life. You know, he's ill prepared to pay a bill. He's ill prepared to budget. He's ill prepared to be rejected. He's ill prepared to be any of the things that are going to, you know, have him matriculate into manhood, you know, and he needs those lessons, and those lessons being taught by a man who's been through it, you know, to sort of prepare him to say, hey, this is what's gonna happen here, this is what's gonna happen here. It's like, it's so necessary. Like, and look, I don't want Father's Day to be, you know, Father's Day like the 20th
of June.
No. It's the 20th most popular holiday.
Obviously, because I don't even know what day it is.
Right. It's the 20th most popular holiday in the U.S. Like, in the U.S., 20th.
I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying?
What's Mother's Day?
Mother's Day, I think it's like, I'm pretty sure it's top 10, but it's probably like 6 or something like that.
What's Christmas?
Christmas number 1.
Oh, okay. Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving's like number 2. Probably got to be number 2.
And then Halloween.
Yeah, not Halloween. I think it's like New Year's or something like that. But like, it's like Father's Day is 20th, and like, and like St. Patrick's Day is before it. Labor Day, of course. Like, a bunch of goofy stuff is before. It's just being a father, man. It's not. I think the hardest part about it is just the lack of acknowledgement, the lack of empathy for the job. Because I'm only important when you can't handle his 6-foot ass no more. You know,
he's gonna get 6 feet.
He's gonna get 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? You know, you need somebody to punch him in the chest. But how about I do things that are proactive? And he also says, which is in with accountability, talks a lot about being proactive. You know, the fire starter. You know, and then the person who puts out the fires. And then you get so good at putting out the fires that you become proactive. What the man is going to do in the boy's life is teach him how to, you know, be precautious.
He say something about how we got to deal with like in the streets, and then we come home. Let me see if I get that clip.
Empathy, of collaboration, empathy, and gentleness into his marriage and home to increase the peace and well-being of his family. Men like to live in an atmosphere of peace. When a man comes through the door after a long day on the job, he is looking for refuge from the world because he has had to deal with people and problems all day. Yes, we all know women have had to deal with those same issues, but a man's battle in the world is slightly different due to the threat he may pose to others based on his physicality. For instance, my wife and I are both exposed to highly stressful environments outside our home. But as a man, I will be seen as a threat to someone who will not see her as the same threat simply because she is a woman and may be seen as physically weaker and less intimidating. I have to diffuse with my countenance and vocabulary each environment I encounter where I know I'm being seen as a threat. Many men experience this daily, and the last thing they want to do is come home to engage in another battle.
Tell him. And I'm gonna try to find the happy wife, happy life. But tell him.
Oh my goodness, get that. So, not to discount any woman's experience in life, and we've had a lot of people who have men, what I'm saying, mostly, who have been harmed and even killed by police lately. It's getting ridiculous. Not to say that there aren't women who go through that. And anybody who lost their lives, I don't want anybody to lose their lives. But what he's saying is we pose a physical threat just by being men. And in these cases of, the things that have just happened, black men, So I have to think my way out of this thing so I don't get physical, and not be confrontational and kind of dumb everything down and be articulate and be thoughtful, be proactive. And then I got to come home and I got to battle you? No. I'm not. No. It's pat me on the back, let me not talk to you for half an hour or whatever. Let me de-escalate. Let me come down from the world because it's tough. Like I say, it's the physical. I don't even want to do it sometimes. And when I walk in a room, I'm looking at every dude in it, and I gotta size them up, just off of.
I want to do that, by the way.
I mean, but it's not to say I don't want to do it, but it's like even if I didn't want to, I still have to. I still gotta size everybody up in a room, and it's like you never have to do that as a woman, because most of y'all have never thrown a punch, or been punched. It's that kind of physicality and that kind of thought process that is really a big thing in men's development. And we have to figure out how to not be that, unless it's necessary. Imminent danger is, you got to protect your wife and kids, ain't nobody touching that. So
last clip, I'm going to find it for y'all, and I'm going to let Michael end on this.
Be one of the most loving phrases ever uttered. Real togetherness. The saying happy wife, happy life, used loosely in society as it is, validates the idea that a husband's happiness does not matter as much as his wife's happiness. It suggests that the only thing that does matter in the marriage is the wife and her feelings, and that somehow, if the wife is made to feel happy, her husband will magically feel happy as well. I'm laughing out loud because I've been married for more than 20 years, and I know this is categorically incorrect. However, I want to encourage brothers to redefine their opinion of true happiness. When a male makes the conscious choice to be a man, marriage moves into a partnership, which, by definition, means that both partners matter. Yes, hashtag both partners matter. God says in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4, ESV, let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled. Marriage is meant to be about two partners making a conscious choice daily to create a happy life together. It cannot just be focused on one person's happiness. If it centers around one person being happy, guess what? The other person in the equation is going to be unhappy. So,
you got, and not just unhappy, but resentful. I only disagree with him in this way, and this is I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna lose people. Okay. I am, but I believe that it's more so happy husband, happy relationship.
So it's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy husband, happy relationship.
Yes.
I'm going to get on out of here.
but
I'm going to head out.
And this is why. Most of our happiness, if you ask the man, what his happiness is attached to his kids' happiness, health, his wife's happiness, health, and not in that order. More than likely, his wife's health, and happiness first. Our happiness is happiness for everybody. I'm not happy if my kids are unhappy. I'm not happy if you're unhappy. But since my happiness is easier, my happiness is easier than a woman's happiness. I just believe it to be. My happiness is easily, quicker to get to than a woman's happiness. A woman's happiness sometimes is searching for happiness. I'm going to lose people. And I liken it to this. If what I want is up the street and what you want is, 20 miles away, me getting what makes me happy, which is right down the street, and then going to get what you want is going to make it to where I'm going to want to get the thing that you got. Whatever you want, I'm going to want to get it. You know what I mean? I'm going to want to drive however far it is. But if I say, well, let's go get yours first, and we might get there, then we both driving back unhappy. Because maybe I'm not going to get mine either. And it's just, I think that because, and that, not in order of importance. This is not in order of importance. This is not about who's more important. This is more about who's the quickest to get to. And I believe our happiness is just easier to get to, and once we happy, it's nothing else. It's the easiest thing in the world to just say, okay, I'm going to make her happy. She let me play basketball for 3 hours, or I'm going to just make her happy because she let me watch the game, or she let me just chill out with my friend. Like, she doesn't bother me with that nonsense. And then I want to make her happy, but not because, again, my happiness is more important, but just because my happiness is just easier to get to. Male versus man.
We're going to get on up out of here.